because everybody is not made to be an '06 rider. It really is a culture.
I'd rather ride with 5 soldiers than with 25 knuckleheads.
Ain't got no license. I went and got the bike. Y'all got y'all license, but y'all ain't got no bike. I went and got a bike.
You only had to be '06 riders, and that was a different identity, and that's kind of what kept me, still actively engaged with the club.
And we kind of looked at each other and we were like, okay, I think we just became a club. I'll never forget that day in my life.
I always knew I wanted to start a motorcycle club for alphas. So I've been riding for 20, 30, almost 30 years. And I will always get contacted. Oh, you should come over here and join our motorcycle club. Oh, you should join this motorcycle club. But I knew I wanted to kind of start my own. And back in 2006, I was playing in a E-Pi fantasy football league. And I named my football team the '06 Riders, right? Now, that was in 2006. So let's fast forward to now 2011. And then I get with Sick With It. And Sick With It is, he also attended Norfolk State University. And it was at a homecoming. I said, Sick, man, we need to start our own motorcycle club. And he was like, yo, let's do it.
He was like, yo, you trying to ride? I was like, yeah, man, whatever. Like you want to start a club? I was like, yeah, I'm trying to start a club, but everybody got their license, but then nobody got a bike. So I'm riding by myself. And then you was like, yo, I'm going to talk to some people and I'm going to get back with you because I know it's some other brothers that ride so we can put something together. I was like, just let me know. Just let me know. I'm ready to go.
And then, but we got to find some more people. So that kind of festered for a while. And in between when we were actually started from 2011 to when we actually started was 2 years. I was able to talk to Shorty. Him and I stepped together on the same step team, Alpha Nova. And then he knew Iceberg and then also knew Lockjaw. So basically, that's how the name came about. And that's how the 5 founders came about of the '06 Riders.
I remember that he met me at in Herndon over at this TGI Fridays or something like that. And we sat down. He was like, hey, man, I'm thinking about starting a motorcycle club. I was like, oh, word? He's like, you interested? I'm like, I think so, but I mean, what? He's like, so, just kind of does like this. We need to have 5 people. I already got Sick With It, who's down in Hampton. And we just need to we need to have 5 people to start it. So I said, oh, wait a minute. I know Chris Washington and Tony Fights, they ride. So we asked around, got the people, and then that ended up being the 5s.
So like Shorty introduced me, introduced me to the guys. Everybody had a conversation, introduced each other. And I think at that point, I started feeling a little more vulnerable. I started letting my guard down to say, you know what, I could actually do this because of the guys that was going to be a part of it. They actually, help, bring me in a way that I felt comfortable and I felt safe for the most part to join the motorcycle club.
Because Hollywood and Shorty were good friends, he passed on the idea to him. Shorty brought the idea to me. Lockjaw and Shorty had known each other for a couple of years. And Lockjaw rode a sport bike. And so we kind of brought him into the conversations early on.
And so at first, I didn't really know what a motorcycle club entailed because you only saw what you saw on television and what you heard about, right? It was kind of like those rogue renegade dudes that would start fights. And so I didn't really know a whole lot about it, but he assured me that the group of guys that they were looking to start the motorcycle club were going to be all alpha. Just by knowing the history and knowing what alpha is about, I felt much better with trying to be a part of that.
So that was kind of the core group. We had a couple of other fraternity brothers who actually were members of established MCs. So they were friends of ours, and they were always around to kind of give us some tips. So, big shout out to Holyfield from the Game 7. Big shout out to Ranger from the Maryland Mother Chapter of Buffalo Soldiers MC. Those guys gave us some early tips on how to navigate this thing.
When I started this motorcycle club, I came up with the idea, and then we actually started our first chapter. I really thought this thing was going to take off, right? It's like, oh man, we're gonna have motorcycle clubs everywhere, Alpha for Alpha Phi Alpha, but for the '06 Riders, and I was excited. I was ready to go. And the next thing I knew is it wasn't going as fast as I thought. Not a lot of alphas ride motorcycles. We're seen as the nerdy guys or whatever, but we built different, right? We're a different type of guys, different type of alphas. And so Shorty, my VP, he was like, look, slow down, hardwood grows slow.
I got this expression, I don't even know where I got it from, but it just fits so much the mold here of hardwood grows slow. I know where we got that from because we met this Buffalo Soldier at their Buffalo Thunder event, and they've been instrumental. Buffalo Soldiers MC has been instrumental in the growing of this club here, '06 Riders. We got the same colors. We got a lot of fraternity brothers in that club. A lot of props to Buffalo Soldiers. We went to Buffalo Soldiers and we met up with this brother, and he was like, "Oh, '06 Riders, okay, cool. Where y'all from?" "Oh, here, Herndon." "Oh, okay, good. And he said, "How many people y'all got?" I said, "Man, we got 5. We got 5 brothers." And he was like, "Man, let me tell you something. I'd rather ride with 5 soldiers than with 25 knuckleheads." And I was like, word.
So I had to kind of sit back on that and be like, all right, I need to wait a little while or just let it come. Because everybody is not made to be an '06 rider. It really is a culture. And we're already frat members, right? But being a frat brother on another level in your club, and also riding motorcycles and taking care of the community, that's just what we do. So that was one of the things we had to learn.
Then we really started focusing on more of the foundation of the organization. And one topic in particular was, all right, well, we're going to get out there. There will be fraternity brothers that will recognize us. They will recognize kind of the imagery on our patches and say, hey, you guys are a motorcycle club just for alphas. I'm interested in, looking and seeking membership.
And so because we weren't trying to half-ass the shit, right? Like people, like you knew that people want to be drawn to you, right? So we had the president of Alpha, we got officers, we got, military, like, just having that type of pedigree, just in general, you knew that they weren't going to be about BS, right? So you kind of knew that it was going to grow just organically, right? Like you didn't have to, like we knew it, right? And so the more guys that we met and the more that they were alphas and the more that we learned that people were riding, it was a no-brainer.
So then we had to figure out, okay, well, what were going to be the unique elements of a prospect process? So yeah, we had to put together quickly a framework for our prospecting process. And it was really important for us to infuse some of the elements that we were pretty familiar with, having been members of the fraternity. So for example, the idea that a prospect has to successfully lead and execute their own service project in the name of the club as one condition of their entire prospect process. And so, we finally figured out a bit of a structure for that. And then the first expansions that we actually had was a gentleman who lived over on the other side of DC in Maryland, rode a little R1. I knew he wasn't going to be able to keep up with us, but we said, okay, we'll let him start coming through.
So from there, we met Tank. Tank met us. He expressed interest. He asked about it, and we developed what the process would be for prospecting. And I tell you what, it took Tank about 2.5 years between babies, marriages, divorces, new bikes, all of this, and Tank busted it out. The whole everything. And from there, that was the blueprint of what we needed to do to have prospects for the rest of the club. So
We are the first Black Greek organization that has a motorcycle club. So of the Divine Nine, the Alphas are the only MC, which is the lane we wanted to play in. There are two other organizations that actually had a riding club. Much respect to them because they out there riding their shit and pounding. But the '06 Riders are the only official motorcycle club. So a lot of people kind of get it mistaken and think you can just come out here and throw '06 Riders on your back and then you're a motorcycle club. No, you have to go through a process. You got to go through and get some respect.
And forming this club again, these guys, wanted something different, right? And so, but we had to go through the process, right? We had to meet everybody. You had to meet, the dominant on the set, and so we met those guys, and for the most part, they let us be who we wanted to be, right? They let us create our own identity without trying to be them, which was cool. And so I was like, you know what? Like, okay, I can respect that, right? Like each individual motorcycle club is different, and we wanted to be different on purpose, right? And so that's kind of how it started.
So before you come out here as a motorcycle club, you need to have 5. You have to have 5 to start a motorcycle club. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then from there, you go through the process of talking to the dominant in the area. You go through the process of possibly wearing soft colors for a while. You got to design your patch. There's a lot of things that you have to do to become a motorcycle club. Now, once all that is done, you still have to get blessed off. Depending on where you live, right? You can get blessed off by a dominant, and then you're good to go, or you can get blessed off by a dominant, but you still have to go through the what they call a council in some areas. But we, on September 29th, 2013, we were blessed off by Wheels of Soul, and we actually had to ride out to them. And you got to go on tubes, right? You can't come in a car and think you're gonna be in a motorcycle club. No, we rode out there on tubes, and to get respect, you got to give respect.
We got blessed off by Wheels of Soul. So it was kind of like, what does that mean? We found out who was the dominant club in the area.
And then next thing you know, when I'm back at the house, said, "Hey, we gotta go meet somebody." Who we going to meet? Oh, we going to meet this guy named Action. Oh, he's the dominant Wheels of Soul. I'm like, okay. Now I'm thinking, this is before I got introduced to Sons of Anarchy, so I don't know what no dominant is. I don't know what. I'm just like, all right, it's just some, what I'm saying. We gotta get permission from like in the mafia or something like that.
We also got a lot of guidance through another brother that we call Holyfield, who was in another club at the time, but really was also instrumental in helping us through navigating the streets, if you will. So we found a dominant club. We went to them. We actually met up with their president out in Waterloo. We rode our shit out there, and he told us to meet him at this place at this time, and we did.
We were actually accompanied by one of our other fraternity brothers who was a member of another MC. So he said, "I'm gonna go out there with you and just kind of hang in the back just to make sure that, everything goes okay." So we ride through the countryside of Virginia, and we end up in this particular gas station. And so we park, and we just kind of hanging out, just waiting to see whether he's gonna show up.
Basically, we just got there all excited, like, oh, okay, well, where he at?
And we probably sat out there for about a good 20, 30 minutes before we look out on the corner coming from the north. There's this one guy, older gentleman on his bike by himself, and nobody else is around. Well, seemingly no one else is around. And he comes by and just rolls by us real slow. I mean, he's looking up and down and, really trying to size us up. And we were like, okay, this just got real. He pulls his bike over, gets off his bike, and he's got this really heavy voice, and he's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Action."
And then Eric was like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure he has a lot of people watching him right now, so don't go bum rushing him. Take your time. He gonna ask to speak to somebody, and then we gonna go up there and like one at a time." Like, okay.
And he rolls up, and Hollywood goes over and talks to Action, and he's like, back and forth. I'm like, oh shit, man, what? I don't know what they're saying.
He goes down the line and introduces himself to all of us, shakes our hand. We all kind of look him in the eye, introduce ourselves. And Hollywood really came and talked to him. Said, "Hey, these are the guys I was telling you about. We want to come out on the set as a new motorcycle club." And Hollywood even tells the story about how we were all brought together by our membership in the fraternity, and how the whole riding thing was an additional layer that kind of brought us all together. And Action listened to that and understood it instantly.
It's all new to us. The only one that knew it was like Eric, so we tried to make sure we, follow protocol and not do anything silly that'll cause, him to call other people or whatever.
I'm actually holding a folder with the design of the patches and a draft of the bylaws. He comes over and looks at the folder. He doesn't care whatsoever about one line of the bylaws. All he cared about was, let me see your patch design. So we showed him the patch design, and he kind of looked at us.
So we did that. We now learn and understand why he did that and what he said. But he gave us this right here that I keep with me all the time. And it's his business card that says, "You have just met a member of an outlaw motorcycle club. God forgets. God forgives. We don't."
Then he looks at all of us and says, "You guys have done your homework. I've met and chatting with you before now. And I want to give you all my blessing to operate as a club." And with that, he shook our hands, hopped on the bike, took off. And probably there were about 50 other guys in areas that we didn't even recognize, but then they all took off as well. And we kind of looked at each other and we were like, okay, I think we just became a club. I'll never forget that day in my life.
We are not a riding club. We are not a social club. We are founded and purposefully as a motorcycle club. A lot of people will ask you what MC stands for. And some may say motorcycle club, some may say men's club. But it's specifically, we wanted it to be on the motorcycle club in the 99% world.
My original vision was a club that has a level of brotherhood a little bit above and beyond kind of what initially brought us together. There's the love of riding and all of that. But I think what we were looking for was an additional set of bonds and an environment where we could just really be who we wanted to be and who we needed to be. And if that was in the backdrop of a larger construct, which is the MC set, which we all are really respect the traditions of that set, then all the better.
And that's just kind of how you feel. You feel the brotherhood is actually bridged from actual core alpha and who alpha is, right? And so that's important.
That's why we say it's brotherhood on another level.
All of us are professional. All of us are alphas. All of us are family men. And what we do, as I said before, we extend ourselves of alpha through the motorcycle clubs.
And I get this question a lot, like, how did you come up with the patch? What does it mean? So when you really look at it, we almost kind of took bits and pieces of things that we already knew about with alpha. Again, right, the pyramid. Again, the Sphinx. Again, '06. And then we took the motorcycles and incorporated that, right? And when you look at our back patch, you'll see the center patch. And at the bottom of it, you will see the city, which is represented. So we were chartered, founded in Herndon, Virginia, right? We're not just going to put Virginia on the bottom rocker. That's a no-go. But the city and the state that we were founded. Kind of how we then took the patch, because yes, before we were still learning the set early, and we were still learning the process early. We designed a 3-piece patch. And then our dominant says, no, you're not coming out here with a 3-piece patch. You need to go back and reevaluate and revamp it. And basically what I said, okay, what we'll do is we'll put Herndon, Virginia at the bottom. We'll put up 2 pillars, which shows basically it's growing from Herndon. And then we put the center patch. And everything in the patch represents something, even from the black, the gold, and the silver. But that's basically how it all came about.
One of the things that we might, and you might see this in or notice it, is that each of us with our name actually has a number associated with it. And that was a conscious decision that we did as founders in order to name everybody with their line number associated with the game. Hence Tripwire, number 2, Tripwire. Bishop, number 1, Bishop. So yeah, everybody got that designation.
So the Alpha Roundup. So we were a key part in developing the Alpha Roundup, along with the Sphinx Riders, which is the riding club. Our first Alpha Roundup was in Nashville. Our second Alpha Roundup was in Atlanta. Our third one was in the DMV area. Our fourth one was in Charlotte. And then the fifth one was going to be in Tampa, but it was canceled. Not Tampa, but the Miami area. But then we wound up going the next year. And then we wound up going to Houston right after that. And then we actually wound up going to Milwaukee. And the next one is going to be in Cincinnati and then Mississippi after that. So basically, the Alpha Roundup is an event that the group or organization Alphas on Twos put on. Currently, I'm the president of Alphas on Twos. And again, the Alpha Roundup is an event that we put on. And, it's something to see when you see 100+ alphas on motorcycles rolling through your community. Not just coming there to party, eat, and drink, but we come in there and really take care of the community. We've done community service events such as giving out school supplies, feed the homeless, women's shelters, just a whole bunch of community activities. And that's just what we do. So I would like to say, yeah, we were a part of making that happen. And I've been to every roundup since. And I love it to get with my brothers and ride on another level and break bread and take care of the community. And we just ride our shit.
I'm going to tell you on the real, what I get out of 06 Riders is that this is more like what I envisioned my line was to be.
That's it.
Right. And it's actually if you ride with somebody at 80 miles an hour, 16 deep, and you got about 3 to 4 feet of space in between anybody, let me tell you what, you better trust them mugs with your life. And that's what I trust these ones here with my life. So we have really, what I get from 06 Riders is brotherhood on the
A lot of us are involved in a whole lot of things, even outside of the motorcycle sector, whether it's, building your own companies, being part of, major government organizations or companies, or even what we do with our families, or even our affiliation with our fraternity, serving in various roles there. And there's an author that always talked about we wear the mask, and what that typically meant was, as a Black man, you kind of have to put on a bit of a front or a face in any of those organizations, whether it's professional, whether it's any other organization. I don't have to put on a face when I'm rolling with these brothers. So to me, the 06 Ride, the MC represents the safe space that I need. It keeps my head on straight.
Just in life, right? Like you're always closer to the people that you've been through things with, right? Either family, either your boys. And I think, Shorty just summed it up. He summed it up perfectly, right? It's just kind of like, you kind of envision, like, I hang with my LBs, like I talk to them, I love them to death, right? But I think, these guys, there's no judgment, right? It's nothing but love, nothing but support. And to his point, like, I just think, the times I've written, right? Like, he's right. Like, you have to trust the person next to you. Like, you move, like, if everybody thinks about pledging you online, right? Like, you moved, everything you did with your LB was in sync. It's the same thing, just at a completely different high octane.
More dangerous,
right? Much more dangerous, right? So to his point, you gotta trust that individual, that dude that's in your back and in your front. Like it's like indescribable, right? Like things you can't put into words. But anyway, the point is that there's a lot of support, there's a lot of love, there's no judgment, right? It's a lot of, I could, just come to you and be like, listen, this is what I need, and this individual got your back, no questions asked, right? And so that you don't get that even sometimes in families. Right, so to this point, it's a brotherhood to another level.
Like he just said, family. You know what I'm saying? Big brother, hey, I need a job. Big brother, hey, let's go riding. I got something on my mind. Or just let me talk to you for a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of one of those aspects that sometimes you don't get in a blood family, blood relations, even with your mom brother. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got something to do. But when these guys and everybody else in the club is family.
You've heard from each one of the founders, and basically, I'm not going to reiterate what they said because I could say the same thing. Well, for me, really, back in 2006 when this vision came, these guys came later and saw that same vision. And when I knew that the support that I had from them to say, yeah, we got your back to go ahead and push forward to start this club, that meant the world, right, to me, to say, wow, they get it, they got it, they see where I'm trying to go with this thing. And that right there, just riding the road, is just brotherhood on a lower level. We're already alphas. We're alphas now taking it to another level. We ride motorcycles, right? That's just
What? Oh, 6?
We've been on the set for now 10 years, and we're looking to be here for a very, very long time.
As far as the future goes, I see us only going up. You know what I'm saying? Because we get people that's interested all the time.
Would I have thought we'd been here today in 10 years? No. Nope. 2 chapters? Nope. Nope. But I'm thankful for every brother that's in this club. We got some little seeds planted. But we got some good brothers that are the nucleus of those seeds and soon to become. So yeah, we want to continue just to be alphas that are in the motorcycle club.
The club has been amazing. I just think that I'm curious to find out. Obviously, alpha's been around for years, but another 50 years, it'd be kind of cool to kind of see where this club can kind of go. So very, very proud of the brothers, of the 06 RYDERZ and everything that they've done and what they've been to the community.
The vision going forward, are we ever going to be a really large MC? Probably not. Again, We chose to limit ourselves by the membership in the fraternity, but what that does is allows us to focus on quality brothers as opposed to just chasing quantity.
I thought we would never be large, but we could always be strong. And that's where the hardwood grows slow also kind of comes from.